Okay. The Westport Library, the Westport Playhouse, the Quick Center for the Arts is proud to present Oh Brother, Not Another Podcast with me, Miggs Burrows.
And I'm Trace Burrows. And if you like the show today, please write a review and tell your friends about it. Today we have Sandra Bernhard on our show, which is, she's done so many things. She goes back in my memory, back to the 70s. And everyone knows her for something different because she does a lot of different things. She does movies, television. She does one-woman shows.
Books.
She has albums. She has books. So just to mention this up front, she's playing at the Westport Country Playhouse on March 12th. And go out and buy a ticket for that show because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Go to westportplayhouse.org, westportplayhouse.org. If you buy tickets, you can also subscribe for season tickets. You can buy single tickets, but Sandra's kicking us. Is it Sandra or Sandra?
I always said whatever you feel like, and sometimes a lot of times now it's Sandy. So whatever you feel like,
really?
whatever you're in the mood for.
Some people are very.
I mean, it's spelled Sandra, but
yeah.
Over the years, people have said Sandra, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not, I'm not picky about my name.
Oh, that's good. Some people are.
I know who I am.
That's good.
What else matters?
Ultimately, right?
And that's the key to your comedy, I think. You know who you are. And
yeah.
Exactly.
So you unlike many performers, some performers are like this kind or that, and you do all kinds of different things. Do you have another, like for movie parts, let's say? I know, like, for instance, I'll just give an example. David Wayne, who was an actor from back in the day, he had his nemesis was Burgess Meredith because they're both small, short, nebbishy guys, and Burgess Meredith always got parts that David Wayne wanted to get, and vice versa, I guess. Is there any other actress like out in the world there that you feel
you're up against?
Gets my roles?
That's my
nemesis. Yeah, your nemesis.
No, not really. I mean, I don't do that many movies. I'd like to do more movies, but I feel like when they come to me, it's because they want me, and
yeah.
Again, I feel like I'm a unique performer and a unique person. And I mean, yeah, there's always times when you go, oh, I think I could have done that role better, or I could have done that role, period. But, sometimes you just miss out on the opportunity. They want a certain person, that person's at a certain point in their career. They bring a certain, level of visibility to that you might not at a certain point. You just sort of learn how to roll with the punches. And that's why I've managed to maintain my career over well over 40 years and still enjoy it and still try to be, imaginative and unique in the way I approach my certainly my one-woman shows. And anytime I've written projects that haven't necessarily gotten, produced, I still enjoy the process. And that's really where it's at, and you always, I mean, I think if you're at a certain level as a performer, you're always going to make a living and do fine. And I'm not I don't have a big footprint in terms of how I live my life. I'm really careful about that because environmentally and socially, I don't need a lot. So I'm not the kind of person who has to have a big, huge house or two houses I don't know. I mean, for who I am, I think I keep a pretty low profile. And I'm proud of that because I feel like being in this business, it's very easy just to be grabby and constantly hustling and making money, and then spending it in egregious ways that I find offensive, and so I just like to do what I do, certainly live a great life, and just not make people feel conflicted about who I am as an artist. And I think that when you're too fabulous and too grand, especially in this day and age where everything is being constantly bombarded on social media, it's hard not to have people kind of respond and go, well, I thought you said a certain thing, but then you're living a different way. And,
Yeah.
I just think I don't think it's not where I want to be as a person, and certainly not as an artist either. So that's a long-winded way of saying I don't really feel like I'm missing out or somebody else is taking anything from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's part of the authenticity. You're not building a false avatar around you.
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
Exactly.
But I'm curious about the Playhouse. Is this your second appearance at the Playhouse, Westport?
Have you been there before?
Well, they told me Michael Barker, shout out to Michael Barker, the director. He said that it's your return engagement. So I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I know I've been. I go back to a lot of venues, and until I get there, I don't remember them necessarily. But I mean, it has a great reputation, and it's been a weird on again, off again year for me in terms of live performing, as it has for everybody. I started to do shows again late September, October of this past year. And then I had a bunch of stuff booked. Well, certainly one, my Joe's Pub run booked in December, and that fell apart like days before. And I was really bummed out about that. So I haven't performed now since October, November, December, January. I mean, February. It's 4 months. You get a little rusty. So this will be the first time back, and then other stuff is coming up. So I don't think I'll be performing again for a long time after this. So it's a one-off, and
That's great.
I'm also coming out with an accompanist who's never played with me before, because normally my musical director comes in from LA, but I wasn't gonna fly him in for one gig. There's just too much. It's a waste of. I might as well not do the gig, So this is a young player. We rehearsed the other day. He seems talented, but it might not be as smooth and seamless as it is when I'm working with people who know my work. So that said, I think it'll be a really fun night, and there's so much to talk about. I mean, besides the material I have written, which is voluminous, and I won't even get to scratch the surface because I think the show's about an hour long. So, there's, I don't know, in a week and a half from now, I don't know what's going to be going on. Who knows? I mean,
you're kind of loosey-goosey about these things too, right? I mean, you're ready for.
No, I have a set show. I'm not loosey-goosey. I write material, and I have pieces that lead in and out of music. And if I just want to go out and just do my, prescribed performance, I do that. There's always room for improvisation because things happen night to night. And some nights I really get on a roll, but that, I don't know. I'll have to see. But there's just a lot to address, between, COVID and obviously the Ukrainian situation, which is heartbreaking and totally frustrating and insane. So I'm sure I will touch on all those things because I think it's important when you're coming out of a situation that we've been in for 2 years to address what's in front of us. I mean, my material is sort of built around the pandemic anyway, to a certain degree, but day to day, there's just so much going on, and I think right now it's important to address it.
I'm curious, do you ever tweak your show to the local community? Like you get a little dirt about Westport and find out the dog catcher's having an affair with the tree warden or anything like that?
No, I don't know. I mean, sometimes if I'm in a big city that I've come back to and I have an ongoing relationship with that city, I might touch on something, but I don't think I'll have, I don't know. I mean, it depends what time I get there and if I observe anything, but I won't do it. I'm not gratuitous like that. I don't necessarily talk about things that don't really impact me.
Do you write your shows on your own, or do you have a writing partner?
No, I write all my own material.
You workshop them at small clubs before you
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh. I don't. I mean, I stopped doing comedy clubs in the 80s after I did King of Comedy. I don't. What I do doesn't really work in a comedy club setting because They were sitting through hours and hours and hours of so many different kinds of approaches to comedy
Yeah.
that by the time you get up, even if people know you, it doesn't necessarily resonate. And after literally performing for 45 years, you either know what's funny or you don't. So,
yeah.
I mean, sometimes, like I said, things get a little bit rusty because you haven't gotten up, but that's, you know, halfway through you hit your stride, or maybe you hit your stride right away. It just depends on the audience and where you're at, you know, energy wise.
Yeah. Yeah. I love King of Comedy. One of my favorite movies. Cause they, you know, what's the word? Didn't typecast De Niro, you know, it was against casting in the way to cast him as the, you know, the loser guy, though he was a loser, I guess, in Taxi, but this was a more friendly loser.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't know how friendly he was, but
what's it like for you being thrown into the, because you were, you know, pretty new at the game, and all of a sudden you're with Jerry Lewis, you're with De Niro, you're with, you know.
Well, in my imaginations as a performer, I always expected to work with the best people. So it's always been more comfortable to me to work with people who have immense talent than people who are just sort of like skirting around the periphery, you know, because usually the really talented people are fun to work with, and you learn so much from them, and they're intuitive. So, you know, I felt at home, I mean, and respectful, but, you know, it was just a great jumping off place for me.
I thought it was interesting in Joker, Todd Phillips kind of switched that whole thing around, where now De Niro's the host and the Joker is like the guy trying to make it. I don't know. It seems like a
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, there's always like, it's sort of like you take what from you know cinematic history and turn it on its ear. You know, it's fun to see that.
You credit Paul Mooney with uncovering you or discovering you. How did that happen?
Well, I had gotten up the first night at literally a place called the Ye Little Club in Beverly Hills when I was 19. And the woman who brought me there knew Paul Mooney and my other friend Lotus Weinstock, who was a comedian, had dated Lenny Bruce and was a singer-songwriter. And the two of them were there that night, and they became my two best friends. Lotus was my Jewish soul sister, and Mooney was my Black soul brother. They were like family and siblings and parental figures. And they kind of knew about me before they'd seen me. And then we just all hit it off. And it was an incredible ride to work with people who'd already been in the business for a long time and taught me so much and protected me and supported me and loved me in a way that, you know, you don't often get in this business. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
So they didn't try to mold you or send you to comedy school and say, you know, they appreciated that you were an original.
Oh, well, people like that never would do that.
Yeah.
No. Any more than I would see a young talent and do that. I might give them suggestions how to become, you know, more in touch with their you know, deeper selves. But that's the beauty of being a great performer and having a good eye. You're always going to, like, you know, support that person and help, you know, cultivate who they are.
Through your career, you know, you've been outspoken, say outrageous things here and there. Did your parents ever like get pissed?
Rein
you in?
Don't. Why? What are you doing? Or something.
Now, my parents were. I mean, first place, it was a very different time. I mean, they didn't know what I was doing most of the time. I mean, you know, nobody fouled you on social media in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. You know, and when they saw the finished product of my work, whether it was a show or a movie or a TV show, they saw, you know, the outcome of my hard work, and they were proud of me and excited for me. But I don't think I've ever said anything in my career that, you know, was gratuitous or stupid or, you know, just there for, you know, to get a reaction, to elicit a reaction. I mean, unless it was a reaction that needed to happen because I was critiquing somebody who was, to me, misbehaving and not doing, the best for, culture and society. So that's part of being, as all great social commentators, that's what you do. That's what your job is. To call people out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, and you, with your comments about Jerry Lewis, I mean, you make it clear you have the utmost respect for him as a comedian, but he was pretty old fashioned in his views of women. And you said he was even that he was kind of uncomfortable when in the scene where you're kidnapping him, with the gun, even though you're playing a part, but he didn't like you having that authority, I guess, right? You didn't.
No. And now recently in the new Vanity Fair, there's a big article about how he sexually harassed women. And, I mean, that comes as no surprise. Any man from that generation who was that egotistical and, out of touch with themselves that would have been a given to me, that they would have approached things in that way.
Right. Yeah.
Now you grew up in Flint. We're just curious because of rock and roll. Were you aware of the Grand Funk Railroad or Terry Knight? Anybody from Flint?
I mean, we left Flint when I was 10 in 1965 and moved out to Arizona. So I think Grand Funk Railroad came around after that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, of course, I know all the other players from Flint, as recently as Clarissa Shields, who's like the women's, I think midweight or heavyweight boxing champion. And I also was watching a recently done little mini documentary about the water crisis in Flint on the Detroit Free Press just before we got on air. I mean, on the recording here. And it's been something I've been talking about since it first happened on my own radio show on Sandyland on Sirius. I've continued to talk about the water crisis in Flint and just how dispiriting it's been, for me personally and just for so many people. And
they never went in there and fixed all that stuff.
Well, they fixed it, but people, I mean, the ramifications and the fallout from it are lifelong. I mean, once you have lead poisoning, I don't think you ever get over it, and it just leads to all kinds of, a cascade of medical conditions and health problems that can't be fixed. And I don't think the right people have ever been held accountable. That the governor at the time, that Rick Snyder, is just a snake. I love snakes, so I hate using animal examples for how bad people are. He's just a prick. He's just a slimy prick.
Just insulted snakes all over.
Yeah, well, no, snakes do their thing, and snakes do good things. I mean, almost every animal and every beast and every insect does what they're supposed to do. We're the ones who can't seem to pull it together.
Yeah, human species.
So, and we have more ability to do that, and yet we do it less. So go figure.
Yeah, we have choice. I mean, a lot of the animals are running by instincts, and we have choice.
But we're messing.
But animals also have to accomplish something every day. They got to get their food. They got to find a place to sleep. They got to recreate, procreate, and they do it. And sometimes they die. Sometimes they persevere. But we're out here in our luxury lifestyles, and we can't seem to get a grasp on just being, human and humanitarian. It's just, I find the more intelligence, a species has, the less they're able to deal with what's in front of them. I'm not sure what's going on.
Except that porpoises, if they're as smart as they say they are, they kind of keep to themselves.
Yeah, they know. That's the thing.
Again, animals, creatures, they have their their lane and they stay in it. They don't get out of their lane, and we always go out of our lane to no avail.
Do you have pets?
I have a dog.
Yeah.
George. He's a rescue from Tennessee.
What breed?
We don't know. We just sent away for this. I mean, he wouldn't let us do the whole, he wouldn't let us leave the swab in his mouth for 90 seconds. I was like, what dog would lay there for 90 seconds and allow a swab to sit in their mouth? Okay. So I don't know what we got. And I don't know he'll probably come back as a cucumber or some sort of a chicken. I don't know what all got picked up on the swab, but it was very little of his actual saliva. But he looks like he's part Border Terrier and part Brussels Griffon, and that has that which also has pug in it. And he's adorable and
So he's
smart,
like,
very smart. He's 20 pounds.
oh, okay. So like,
He's not that small. He's, very smart, very high intelligence, and very, very entertaining dog.
I just want to interject one. We're not done yet, but just Playhouse, Westport Playhouse, March 12th, westportplayhouse.org. We're going to try to post this tomorrow so people can get a chance to get a preview of you. And
yeah, they should get a preview and then come and see me,
yeah, definitely.
On stage, where everything comes. I mean, listen, we can do this till the end of time. It's convenient, but coming to see somebody live is, I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want in life. We're here to interact and be with each other and, commune. And that's why I love performing live, and we'll always do it. God willing. Inshallah.
Can you mix the sing? You talk, you sing.
Yeah. I sing. Singing was my first love, and I thought that I was going to be just a singer. And then people said, well, you're really funny, take the comedy route and then add in the singing, which is what I ended up doing. And then it just sort of developed and evolved and, became bigger and bigger. And this show is a little more pared down. Like I said, I'm only there with a piano player. But most often I have a full band, and, but you know what? Sometimes it's just nice to have an intimate, just piano and vocal. And I feel like I can certainly engage the audience as much, if not more, when I'm just sort of me standing there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of a daring, courageous thing, because you work so well with people, Letterman and the people you interact. I mean, you're just like shot out of a Cuisinart. I mean, you're just all over the place,
Yeah,
So, but the audience.
I miss those times. I miss the times where it was appointment viewing, when you stayed up to watch Letterman, and you got to do things you can never do now. You can never pull it off because with TikTok and everybody's a star and everybody's outrageous. And it's like, you go out and try to do some of the things I did back then, which were cutting edge. Not only cutting edge, but I think intelligent. And the combination of me and David Letterman was, I think, really charming and funny and edgy. And, it was everything was just sort of like came together with the two of us. So they became little performance pieces. But you would never see that on a talk show now. They don't even register. They're not even on the radar. You might watch them the next day or a day later, but you're also watching it distracted by 100 other things on your computer. So it doesn't have the impact. So to have still been a part of that time in entertainment and in our history of having that very, very focused experience, not only for myself, but for the audience, you forge relationships with your fans and your viewers in a way you can't do now. And that's, so that's why the live performing, sort of kind of takes the place of, what it used to be like to do it everywhere.
Were you ever on Carson?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Sometimes Facebook shows me videos, they read my mind, whatever. And I look at these things, and these there's like 3 or 4 guys sitting there, and they really give them time. And a lot of it's a lot of, you don't, like you said, you don't see that. They're laughing, they're saying stuff to each other, Carson interjecting, and it lasts for about a long time. It seems 20
well,
minutes.
there were fewer commercials back then. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number 2, there was a sense of camaraderie in the business, and you got to know people over the years, and Johnny Carson had a lot of the same people on. He had almost like his ensemble of people he was comfortable with and had fun with. He wanted to have fun. What if you're not in this business to have fun, what are you doing? I mean, it's absurd. I see so many people who just seem so like hungry for like fame and acknowledgement and money. And it's like, that was never the motivation for anybody I knew back when we started out. Yeah, we all wanted to be successful. We all wanted to be acknowledged and and celebrated. That's part of it. But for me personally, the main part was always like, God, I just love getting up. I love doing this. It's so much fun. You get to meet people, and and it's glamorous and crazy. I just think so much of that has just been, crushed by just the nature of our culture. And so I'm lucky I got to do it, and I still can do it in my own way.
How would you rate yourself as a manicurist way back in the day?
Well, I give myself an 8 out of 10. It was a different time, because you were doing people's nails, mani pedi, when they were under the dryer, because that's when women still got their hair set. So, and again, they come to you. So week after week, you'd develop a relationship with these, like I was in Beverly Hills with these really great women who I'm still friends with, some of them all these years later, and they're amazing. And yeah, it was just different. There wasn't all the bells and whistles and fake nails, and you just gave somebody a straight ahead mani pedi and did a nice coat of polish, and off they go.
Did you try out material on anybody?
Well, I just think I was very, of course, outgoing and fun to be with. So a lot of my material came out of conversations. I wasn't trying out material, but I was getting material.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever pursued a role like you saw, films in pre-production or TV series, and you go, oh, I'd like to play that part, and you have your agent put your name out there?
Oh, sure. I mean, that's part of, part of the deal with your representation. But again, like I said earlier, everything is packaged now. So it's usually an agency, they're usually, or a management company. They're part of being on the production end. They're the producers. They don't do anything, just in name alone.
Yeah.
And then they get their own people from the agency to star in the movies. And so right now I'm really excited because I'm writing a TV project with my friend Judy Gold, who's another comedian. And so we just got notes from her manager yesterday, and we're going to go back to the drawing board and revamp the pitch and the presentation, and then look for a producer, and then go out and pitch it and hopefully get it set up.
As a series or a movie?
A series.
Oh. Would you star in it as well?
Yeah, Judy and I will play cousins.
Oh.
Yeah. Slightly estranged, but thrown together.
Yeah.
Set where, in Hollywood or set in the Midwest?
No, I can't say where it's set. I don't even
okay.
have an idea. It's hitting the sweet spot of something right now, and I don't want to give anybody hear it. People steal shit all the time.
Oh yeah.
So if my math's right, you have a daughter that's 23 now? Is that
correct?
Correct. Oh, my math's pretty good. How is she? Is she following any of your kind of?
She's an artist, and I think she's pursuing production and art design and film and television.
Oh, that's what we do. Well, we do art design, but yeah.
Oh, really?
We're both visual artists. Yeah.
But what do you do it for?
Ourselves. I mean, we do it well. The public at large. No, we exhibit. We're exhibiting artists.
Yeah, exhibit.
Oh, okay. Well, you're then you're like more like painters, visual artists,
Photography. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Anyway, she's great. She's very, very smart, very well read, highly educated, and just a really unique, wonderful person.
Yeah.
And being a mother has had, certainly been a wonderful addition to all my other experiences, but hasn't stopped me from doing, what I do as a performer and an artist. So I've always been able to, keep the two separate, but yet been inspired and influenced by being a mother and having, a wonderful kid.
Outside of your one-woman shows and the king of comedy, what's your favorite, one of your most favorite experiences in a series or a film that
well, some of my own work, my one-woman show that was turned into a film, Without You I'm Nothing, which is now part of the Criterion collection. So I'm very, very proud of that. And of course, being on the original Roseanne series, and
Yeah.
which back in the day was very cutting edge and a lot of fun. And then just all the guest starring things I've done over the years, and most recently my recurring role on Pose,
Yeah.
which was also a groundbreaking show. And I'm just taking it day by day, and we'll see how it all falls together. I got to jump off in a minute.
Okay.
Got some other stuff to do today, but it was a delight speaking to you. I'm very excited to be coming out to the Westport Playhouse, and hoping a lot of people show up and and enjoy the show, and have a sense of normalcy, but not boring and predictable.
Yeah.
Something new to get us back to what we enjoy doing in life.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you both, and I hope your eye heals up and everything is good with you both.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Cheers, Sandra.
Bye.
Whoever else is behind the scenes.
Just us. It's just us.
Just the cats.
We have a cast of thousands, but they're not.
But today, only you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. Okay, guys, have a good day.
Yeah.